Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Mendel Leij. I'm an audio engineer and a composer from my lovely country called the Netherlands. And I was lucky enough to try the new Groove Agent expansion, the Simon Phillips Vintage Drums. Now for this expansion, I created a short little demo track. So let's first take a listen to that and then we'll dive more into the Simon Phillips Vintage Drums. So here we go. Alright, so like the vibe I was going for with this song was instead of doing these like modern metal productions or rock productions I usually do, I wanted this more to have like a, well, as it says, vintage drum, more a vintage sound. And to be honest, there was very little I did to the drums right out of the box. In my opinion, these drums sound great. Let's take a listen to the drum soloed. So to start off, what's actually being played here, so with the pack, you also get like a bunch of like played stuff and fills, for example. So for example, here we have this intro number 1. And that's actually the intro fill of the song. Same thing for the part afterwards. Only thing I changed is a cymbal. But basically this main number 8, if I'm correct? Yeah, number 8. It's the same part here, but instead of the hi-hat, I changed it to the crash cymbal, if I'm correct. And what I love about this, because when I started writing this demo track, basically this song, I just want to like go quick. I have this riff, I want to have quick ideas, and it inspired me to use this fill. Like I heard this fill, like okay, there's like a groovy part to this BPM I had, which is the standard BPM was 120 BPM. Only thing I did was just like drag it onto the MIDI track, and that's that. I can write quick, get my ideas like right into Cubase and move on to the second part. So as you can see over here, I just programmed the crash and played a tiny bit with like the velocity, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to have like kind of like movement into it. Because in my opinion, when you program drums and it's only like 127 loud, that's not really what a drummer does. Like most of the time it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, like 1 and 2 and 3 to have a bit of more dynamics going on. Again, as you can see over here, it's like a bit softer, a bit louder, a bit softer, a bit louder. Now also, in my opinion, these cymbals are recorded really, really well. So for example, with this part, and we'll dive more into the compression a tiny bit later, because there's a bit of compression on these drums. But notice when one guitar rings out and the other plays the the new riff and the bass is ringing out, really pay attention to the cymbals, how they almost glue the high end of the mix together. It all makes sense, if that makes any sense. I'm gonna play this last fill and then I'm gonna do the ring out and pay attention to the ring out of the cymbals. Like I said earlier, EQ wise, I didn't do a lot. The only thing I did here is, like within Groove Agent, is on the kick drum, like a 0.5 dip around 100 Hertz. That's it. I didn't use the EQs on the rest. All of that is just on this track. And on the track itself, I did do a tiny bit, just a tiny bit, with this new compressor in Cubase 13, which is based on a very famous compressor from the 50s, if I'm correct. Just this boost over here, so let's take a listen. Yeah, just a tiny bit. Like when I activate it, it has a tiny bit of top end, but it also feels as kind of scooping the overall curve. Just a tiny bit to make it fit in the bass, and it makes a tiny bit better. Now there is some compression on this, but it's like parallel. So when we take a look over here, like I'm thinking we're hitting 12 almost, but I got the mix at 47%. So this is without compression. It's a bit loose, but with compression, you can really feel that, in my opinion, pleasant rock compression, like it's really pushing it down. We also have a tiny bit of multiband compression. So as you can probably tell, the mid-range is just ducking down the low thud of the snare just to keep it in place. And the low end is basically just compressing the kick and the lower toms. And as you can see here, I have a send to the bass guitar. That's basically to, get it? That's basically to make it, basically the kick drum is pretty heavy in this mix. So it's almost overbearing. So I want to make room for it on the bass frequencies on the bass guitar. So it's just sidechaining to the bass guitar on this 50 Hertz thing. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. And are there certain things you would do differently? I'm happy to read your comments. My name is Mendel and see you next time. Cheers.